Hello, and welcome to the Prog Analyst. Today we are going to be talking about the Porcupine Tree song, Culling. I haven't transcribed the whole song note for note, but I transcribed important rhythmic, melodic, and harmonic parts for us to break apart, and I've included timestamps of when each of these ideas first occur. The main reason I chose this song is because it's an 11/8 time throughout the whole song, but the way that those 11 beats are divided changes in different sections. We can look at the first few measures of the drum part to see how the beginning of the song is divided. I look at this pattern as 2 sets of 4/8 notes and 1 set of 3/8 notes. I think these kick drums and this snare click outline these divisions, and this sustained note in the guitar riff also helps us feel the 4/4/3 division. Looking at the notes of the riff here, we have D, F, and G, which pretty clearly tell us that we're in D minor, and a chromatic passing note of G flat moving from the G to the F. That G flat or F sharp note will actually be important later, but for now it's just a simple chromatic move. This riff continues when the vocals start. The melody has a lot of space in between phrases, and I think the placement of phrases prevents the melodic rhythm from feeling stale and repetitive, which can sometimes happen when progressive musicians are writing over odd time signatures. This phrase starts on the 3rd 8th note, then we have this big nice space before we get the response, which happens significantly later in the measure. At the 48-second mark, a second guitar starts to play these longer notes, almost all of which are part of the D Dorian scale. There are only 3 notes in this section that aren't a part of this scale. F sharp, featured pretty prominently here, as I mentioned earlier, will be a recurring tone in this piece, even though it is definitively not a D minor note, which is the key of the song. A flat is a member of the D blues scale, so while a dissonant note, it's not unexpected to hear it. Finally, C sharp is just the leading tone that brings us back to D at the end of this interlude. Then the vocals come in with the soft lyric lyre, but what I am far more interested in are the pitches of the melody, specifically the recurrence of the F sharp. The chromatic move from F to F sharp I think becomes a defining characteristic of the piece, and I think it plays a significant role in the haunting feeling of the song, moving from the darkness of D minor temporarily to just a hint of major in a somewhat off-putting way. After a few repetitions of this idea, we explode into a new section. The drums are rhythmically similar to those in the previous section, although now they are more aggressive, and the snare drum is now being struck in the center of the drum. I consider this guitar riff to be a variation of the previous riff rather than a completely new riff. The alterations done to this riff are harmonizing this part in power chords, changing these from a D to a C, the effect of which to me makes this D feel more like a resolution. The addition of this quick triplet, and the rhythm and the pitches here are slightly adjusted to fit the vocal melody. Again, we see this F sharp now creeping into the guitar part. The next significantly different new material happens at the 3:16 mark, and it's a pretty drastic shift. First, the guitar moves from a riff to just sustaining chords. The first chord is a D sus2 chord, and I think the shift from D minor for the last 3 minutes to a D suspended sound is an immediate indicator that we are in a new section now. The next chord is G sus4 with an F in the bass, another really open, ambiguous sounding chord, but the F in the bass reminds us that even with these suspended chords, we are still in fact in D minor. Next we get a G chord, our 4 chord in Dorian. And finally, we get a B flat 6 chord, just our diatonic flat 6 major chord from D minor with a G tension on top. Another major difference in this section is that the rhythm is now being divided into 3 sets of 3 and 1 set of 2, as clearly outlined by the kick and snare pattern here. The last thing that helps differentiate this section is that the melodic range here reaches new peaks. At the 3:44 mark, we hear this A for the first time. So we're already starting higher than we've had before, and it ends up getting as high as the D above that near the end of this section. After this section, we return to the riff from the beginning of the piece. The next time we hear something new is at the 5:34 mark, and it's a change in the drums. Where previously we had this rhythm defined primarily by the kick and snare on the 1st and 5th 8th notes, we now get an 11/8 adaptation of a rock backbeat, with kicks on the 1st, 5th, and 9th 8th notes, and snare hits on the 3rd, 7th, and 11th. Using a variation of a rock backbeat makes the end of the song feel more driven and comfortable for listeners who are more used to a percussive rhythm like this one, although the 11/8 time signature still remains as a progressive component. Finally, I didn't transcribe the guitar solo that closes out the song, but the note choices Steven Wilson uses in the solo are almost entirely D minor pentatonic with the addition of F sharp. Overall, the main harmonic vocabulary of the song is just that, D minor pentatonic with that unique defining note of F sharp. That's my complete breakdown of Culling by Porcupine Tree. Thank you for watching. If you learned something new or enjoyed the video, please like it and share with anyone else who might be interested. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else about the song you enjoy or find interesting I might not have mentioned. If you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe as well. If you have any suggestions of prog rock songs you want to see an analysis video of, leave those in the comments as well. The next video will be about the song Heart Like a Whirlwind by Transatlantic. Thanks again!